are already past 2 minutes and we'll be starting off. First of all, we have, is anyone new or first time on this call? Shivai Code Chef, I guess. Okay. Okay, I think he's not back. Okay. Okay, then we'll start with the meeting agendas, and we'll look into if anyone else new joins in. So first of all, we have Aditya Chatterjee. I'll just share my screen. First of all, we have Aditya Chatterjee with the community members filter, the topic. Uh, so Aditya, do you want to share any progress on this?
Yeah, I'll just share my screen. I think it's visible. Methods. Yeah. So
What is it about 70 something rupees per dollar? So what we're looking at?
75, I think. 75.
Okay, just checking.
But I didn't ask if my screen is visible, so I just said that I'm pretty sure my screen is visible.
Oh, I see. Okay, very
Yeah,
good.
cool.
It's all in the phrasing. Okay, good.
So yesterday, I think what Nikhil was talking about is this, like the service mesh performance is getting cut over here. So we need to fix that, but the word is huge. So the only way out, I think, is to reduce its font size, but that looks really ugly. I had sent a screenshot to Nitish, where it was looking really bad. And also Nikhil said that this is like, right now it's aligned with all the options, but previously it was center aligned. So center align was looking a little better when the drop down was not open. Like right now it looks like it shifted towards the left. Now it looks all right, but the center align was looking better. So I'm here for suggestions. So what do you guys think?
Yeah, I don't, on the service mesh performance one, it's kind of the way that this isn't a strong opinion. The way that I feel about it is kind of like yeah, at some point, like, what if you had one that had another word on it? And then you're like, well, like at some point you're like, at least you're showing the full text when you're selecting it. And then after that, it's kind of like, well,
does it really matter? Like,
yeah, probably not. Probably there's more important things for us to talk about.
Yeah, so that's, and about the central line, I feel central line looks better, but it doesn't really make that much of a difference. Like, yeah. So this is what it is right now. So the PR is ready to go. If you want me to make any last minute changes, I can do that.
Is this on Safari?
Yeah, this is on Safari right now.
Yeah, that was the major point you missed out.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah. So this is on Safari, working perfectly on Safari now. So the next point is the discuss the discuss newsletter template. So there's no designs for it yet. Since it was empty, I put in something which looks really horrible. Is the discuss site still like not working right now?
Hope so.
Let's see. Yeah, it's working. So I have something on which is really, like, I was testing it out because me and Chantan, we were working on the Meshery newsletter before. So I had the code for that. So I put that in, and then right now it looks really bad. So where is it? Emails, summary. Because I don't know how to put in like the logos here. These are the logos that I've gotten from Google. So I am not really sure how I'm supposed to put in logos here, because is there some way we can download it or something like that?
So you mean like you don't know how to get the logos over there? Like if you can upload logos onto the repository, something?
Yeah, but like this I've written on Discuss. So I have to upload the logos on Discuss to use them.
Yeah,
So,
you can do that.
so I can do that. So I didn't know that. So that was my question.
So
And
like
yeah.
that you can do it in the customized section itself. Like it's basically one or two buttons of change. Yeah, if you can select the default,
Okay, default.
and if you move to the, so there's the upload section.
Where
Yeah,
is it?
here, yeah, at the bottom. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
got it.
So you can upload and have the name of that component or thing.
All right, got it. And the final thing was the copy to clipboard button on the docs. So we have used a clipboard.js feature in the like the docs, but I am not sure what that is used for because we don't have copy options on any of the code snippets. Like I've gone through a lot of them, but there's no copy feature right now. So this is what I did yesterday. It gets copied, but right now it doesn't look nice. But yeah, I was just seeing if I could implement the feature. So yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
we want this to be included in docs, right? So
Yeah. Yeah. And
I'll put this logo inside and then implement it on all the code snippets.
yeah. Yep. Yep. Yep.
Okay.
That's about right. I don't know why this was, it was a topic of discussion a number of times. And I remember now it was Shriti Chandra wanted to, I just wanted her to take and use like clipboard JS and take like 30 minutes to do it. Instead, I think we talked about it like 3 times for 30 minutes because she wanted to like implement it, write something new. And like, look, it just, so when you do it, yeah, I mean, ideally we're reusing some existing library, but also hopefully the way in which you do it is done such that it becomes a feature of the blog that is documented in the docs the contributing guide for the docs.
Yeah,
Such
because
that
this is like an include. Like I have put this in the includes folder, and so that it's reusable. So I'll put that in the docs as well. That's how you're supposed to do it if you add code to the docs. All right. So yeah, that's it from my side.
so the one that was in the one that was in the middle, it was about the email template on the discuss form.
Yeah.
And the part of the challenge, I'm sorry, I missed part of the challenge was, or rather, you're aware of layer5.io/brand, where it has all the logos.
Yeah, I have the brand. Yeah, I have the brand kit.
Okay, and then
I
okay,
just couldn't figure out how I'm supposed to put it on discuss. Now I've got it, so I can do it.
got it.
Okay, so if anyone else has any things to add or suggest feedback for these 3 things or 3 changes by Aditya, want to ask something? Okay, so that means that was pretty clear to understand. We'll move on to the next, like for this topic, the general feedback for the Safari, the community members filter. So yeah, you can go on with the PR, and we can, like if it all works good, then we can merge it as well.
No, I have already put in a PR, so I don't need to make any changes, right? So it's
Okay.
ready to merge.
Yeah. Then
Yeah.
I don't think there are any changes required apart from if Lee has suggested something for that overflow of the word service mesh performance.
Okay, cool.
For the discuss letter template, so yeah, that I was just told how we can do it. And for the copy to clipboard, so yeah, that's also been discussed, I guess, with Lee.
Yeah.
Okay, then like we can move on to the next topic then. The next topic is the learn ng section, or the subsite, we can say. First one, we have Nitish with he's added the service mesh feature. So Nitish, would you like to show a demo?
Oops. Wrong window, I guess.
Okay, like yeah. So you guys are saying the LearnNG site, right? Like I'm just verifying whether I'm the same. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So actually, this is what I have made right now, like the ability to switch between the service meshes for a particular course. So you can just actually it is dynamically generated according to what and all the service meshes are available for this particular course. So you can actually switch between those, and the content actually dynamically varies according to that. So yep, this is simple, but yep, this is what I have been working on.
So by default, we have anything fixed?
You mean? No, no, no. Like by default, Istio is fixed.
Okay.
I don't think we have any logic for that right now, but if you want, we can implement it. Maybe keeping the first thing that is over here as the default one would be the most intuitive one, I guess. But
Okay, and so the different, like both of them are in individual pages, right?
yep, actually, when you look over here, you have the slug over. I mean, the path over here, right? So it's actually this part is where this is the part that would be changing according to the service mesh. So if it is Istio, then it would be Istio, and if you change it to Linkerd or something, it would actually be changed. The other parts of the link would actually remain the same. So that's how we differentiate it. But actually, there is one problem here that I need you guys' suggestion on. So when you actually don't have a, let's say like I've come to this course and I'm looking for observability, and if I try to see for the like for the same course, if I try to go for, okay, it's still there. Like actually the point I was trying to make was that there are some courses in a particular chapter which might not be available for a service mesh. Like it might be available for Istio but not for Linkerd. In that case, like it would return a 404 that page is not found. So I was thinking that like there might be some, like we can solve it in many ways. One of the ways that I could think of was, have the same code chapter structure for each and every course for a particular service mesh. And then if a course, if a chapter is not available, then you display a page that says, this chapter is not available for this particular service mesh. Uh, that's what I was thinking. But if you guys have any better suggestion for that, like I'm open to it.
So can we like for the individual chapter as well, we have the individual pages, right?
Yep, actually, right now we are in Linkerd, right? So when you navigate between them, you would actually be navigating in the Linkerd section.
Yeah, but there is a different page for each of the section as well.
Yep.
So if we can like get to know whether there exists this chapter for this service mesh, we can have the disabled feature. Like if it's disabled, so it show it gray or something, so that it's not clickable or something. And if the chapter exists for the other one, then it should be clickable. Or
Okay.
so that's just a suggestion. Like we are open for other suggestions as well. Lee, what do you say?
Yeah, that was going to be my question, was if the way that the course is structured is such that the expectation is that irrespective of service mesh, of the specific service mesh that you're learning, if they were both going to have the same, set of instructions or the same outline, while the main content would be different, clearly based on what mesh you're looking at, whether or not the course itself, if there's like 8 labs, 8 sections. And it sounds like that's how it is today, right?
Yep, that is how it is right now.
Okay. And so, yeah, I don't know that there's necessarily a correct answer to that question, the one I just asked. Like, it can be yes, the expectation is that it's the same overall structure, acknowledging that, like, inevitably, because they are different service meshes and they do have different functionality, that there will be on occasion where one mesh just doesn't even do this whole section at all. And so yeah, just thinking, yeah.
Yeah, actually, I think we'll have to compile these things down, and then we'll have to figure out what kind of structure do we have, and code accordingly or something.
Yeah, and so the suggestion that Josh just had was, can make sense. It like, let's say that you start a course on Linkerd and there's 9 labs, 9 sections in the course, and it only does 7 of them and so you might see on the left hand side, you might see that there are 2 sections that are grayed out or that are disabled. So when you hover over them, nothing activates. If you were on the Istio service mesh, all 9 were lit up. You went to one of the 9 that Linkerd doesn't have. You're sitting on one of those. The Linkerd icon would not be lit up on that particular section. Like, just kind of walking through this like Josh was. Yeah, I mean,
So I just have a question.
That would be a good solution for this, I guess.
So I just have a question, like, is it true, or is it a rule that the either of the service mesh would always be included in the other one? Maybe like, if let's say for now we are having that, let's say Istio is having 9 chapters and Linkerd is having 7, but we assume that the 7 are like same. Let's say they are not the same, or like there are many differences. Then what we can do is, like, if anytime you switch between the service mesh, you directly go to the default, the course overview page for that service mesh. That would be also a good idea if that's the case, where like the chapters are not aligned, basically, because I don't think it would be a good idea to have those individual chapter move like switcher a feature that won't be required much.
Yeah, makes sense.
yeah, it's a little bit of a conundrum. There's potentially multiple right answers. Like,
Yeah,
it
maybe
is.
like what I'm thinking right now is that maybe we can just render the whole table of components according to the chapters that we have. I mean, this one I'm talking about, like if you're in this particular service mesh, then this chapters, this bit over here would be dynamically changing according to what service mesh you have selected. Maybe that would do, I guess.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, because you could imagine, like, it would be fair that broadly at a high level, that you would expect most of the time. And even if this isn't true, it's okay. So, like, let's say that we've got a full set of learning paths. There's like 5 service meshes that we cover, and let's say we've got 3 learning paths. I don't know. One is using service meshes to enforce security, or to and another one is introduction to service meshes. The other one is advanced service meshes. Let's just say that there's those 3, that there are 5 service meshes that we have. You would expect, in general, between the introduction and advanced, it would be like, well, you would expect now that all 5 of them have some intro and some advanced. Probably all 5 of them also have some securing or using a service mesh securely. And then, yeah, to what you just said, within the individual courses and the individual labs, your mileage might vary. And it's more intuitive probably if the student is just not seeing anything. Like, when they switch to if they had 9 before and they switch to Linkerd, they only see 2. It should be more obvious in this case that, oh, okay, there's actually, when we do this breaks the other answer to my question, which was, are we assuming that there's going to be the same content? We're going to let them flip back and forth, assuming that they would be on the exact same page. And so like a combination of all the things that we've just said, it probably makes sense that we acknowledge that they won't always have the same content. If you switch back and forth between one to the other and they don't have the same page, then I think what Joshua was sort of suggesting is that you might bring the student back to the top of, like, whatever you're on, improving the service mesh. So you sort of bring them back to the initial page. You probably eliminate the other 7 sections that actually aren't available for Linkerd, and you're only showing them two. So it becomes obvious that, well, one, there wasn't a
relation. Yeah, it's like I get the point. Like I guess that is what we should be looking at right now. Since like we should not be giving a false idea to the user that when you click on a particular, I mean, these two courses chapters will be the same for every service mesh, right? Like we should not giving them this idea because it won't be, right? Yeah. So I guess what we can do is, like, for each and every course we can have a introduction chapter, and that could actually, I don't know whether it's a good thing or not to have a table of content over there in the page. We can
Sorry
have a
to
page that,
interrupt.
yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. Yeah. Actually, so I just noticed the plan which we are discussing about having different table of different items for each service mesh. Storybook does have a similar approach, what we are discussing. So I just found one of the pages. Just let me share the link. Yeah. So for this link, if a person starts the course using React and goes to testing on the navbar, yeah, and now change the framework to React Native, which is the second option. So the testing, select testing and then change. Go to React, change the framework to React.
Yeah, I see. Like it was testing before, and okay, we were in testing, right?
Yeah, and then click to native. It will be directed to the first chapter.
Okay.
So yeah, I think we are good with that approach. Moving the user back to the first chapter to start. But also keeping them to the same chapter if some other
Yeah,
frameworks
I
does
see. Like
have.
if the chapter is available for the other framework, they are just keeping it the same. But if it is not, then they are pushing to the get started. Okay, I guess we can do this. Any comments?
Sounds great. As a matter of fact, it's exactly why we're reusing, is because we don't need to figure it out. Like they already figured it out. So, like we're not trying to reinvent here, whereas we are on other projects. Here, we're just trying to get something that someone has considered for those things and has an answer for those things. And so, yeah, this is good.
Okay. So that's it from my side.
Great. So it's really good. Now, one thing to be aware of that, and it's not, I don't know that we have an answer at the moment, but when you look at the frameworks to switch between or the service meshes to switch between, good. But it also looks really similar to the other, I think it says service meshes available or something. And so one is a switcher and the other one is, I'm not sure, but yeah, I could see a user getting confused between thinking that there were two switchers in different places.
Okay, the course overview page you're talking about, right? The service meshes, you can learn that thing under the section, right?
I think so. I don't know.
Yeah.
So just something to have in the back of your mind. Think about.
Yep.
Those new cards are something else. Oh, hot. Nice. Wow, look at how responsive the pages are too. It's great. Oh yeah, it's the service meshes you can learn. Here's a page that has an example. Yeah, I guess it's the course overview page, maybe.
Yeah,
cool.
perfect.
Okay, that great. This is looking good.
Okay, then Anyone else has any feedback for this specific thing by any chance? Cool. So before moving on to the next topic, I see there's a participant named Chris Ogari Goodness. So Chris, is this your first time on the website call?
Yes, it is.
So would you mind giving a small introduction to all of us?
Okay, so my name is Goodness, and I'm a front-end developer. I recently joined the community, and I'm still getting to know more about the community so as to contribute.
Awesome. And Goodness, did you say hi on a different call? Did you say you're not from Kenya, are you? Am I
I'm
confusing?
from Nigeria.
Okay. Yep, there was. Yeah, I'm sorry. Just
Goodness.
another.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Just another Nigerian. I guess that's just. There's a lot of sarcasm that flows on the around on the calls. So just joking with you, there was another individual who had joined, and they had said that they were from Kenya, and then it always gives me a chance to pick on Anita, who's on the call, who's consistently on a lot of the calls, and there's just a lot of folks from Nigeria specifically, and so it's about the only way that I can sort of poke at her, but even then it doesn't really work. Nice to have you, Goodness. That's great. I think we have a topic for you and Anita and some others today, so that's good.
Okay, so then we'll move on to the next topic in the same section, Learn Engine. That's by Chinmay about the updates to the sidebar on chapters page. Is Chinmay present?
Nope, he is not on the call, I guess. But for the update, I can share the update with you.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Just a second, let me share it. 10 minutes. So basically, we had the PR fixes some small styling issues, like on the current sidebar. If you go, the breaking of the course name into two lines doesn't differentiate into two courses. Instead, into the same course. Instead, it looks like we have two separate courses, which is Advanced Concept of Service Mesh Service, and then Meshes Hands-on. So just some styling updates to that one, which improves it a bit and also fixes the alignment of the lines. So it reduces the spacing between the courses to look at like a seamless course instead of differentiating between them. Apart from that, yeah. Also, other one is we had that feature earlier, but it wasn't working properly. And that was, suppose if you are on a course right now, and this is the first chapter which is getting started. Then in the table of component, if you go through the TOC, you might not understand, okay, which chapter I'm on. It should highlight the current chapter which the user is going through. And that was implemented, but due to some reason it wasn't working because how Gatsby works. So for that, the fix is now ready on this PR, and the current chapter which is being read upon by the user is being highlighted on the TOC. If the user changes the chapter, the highlight will be shown on the table. This,
Nice.
with addition to the service mesh switcher, I guess we are 99% to the completion of our learning design. Just few design updates and here and there. That's all in this PR.
That's nice. Yeah, one thing to look out for is when I think it's the darker capel green that's being used, I think, on the left hand
Mhm.
nav bar or
Yeah.
switcher, but it looks like it might be the Caribbean green on the right hand side.
Yes.
Okay. Just an item.
So do you say we should use the same green on both of them?
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Okay. I will add that as a review of the PR. That's
Okay.
especially over 90.
But it says, yeah. So by the go ahead, Nitish.
I was not gonna say anything.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was me. So Chinmay also reached out to me with another issue in the sidebar, like the line which connects all the dots.
Right.
Uh, so is
Yeah,
that
I
fixed as well?
tried out and I tried it on my environment at least, and I updated the PR with a commit, which at least worked for me. So if you all face the issue, you all can try it on your browser to confirm if it works fine. Right?
Okay, thank you.
I updated that to work right now, but I'm not sure. It might vary for different resolution. If that might be the case, you might have to update it again. So do try, give it a try and confirm if the sidebar is working properly or not. Yeah,
We'll
for the
want
filters.
Aditya to check. Like we just want if it works on Safari.
Safari, yeah. Right.
So any updates for like any feedback for the sidebar thing that's been done by Chinmay?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you, yeah, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a small, but I guess we're literally using a couple of different components. So one, this vertical line, one, we just lost him.
Lee, you're on the live side.
Oh,
Still not, the PR is still not
I
merged.
see. Oh, okay.
I'll share the URL.
Okay.
I think it works fine on Safari except for one glitch. Could I just share my screen first?
Yeah.
So like it's not visible, but it's like if I do this, there's this, I don't know what's popping up. Can you guys see it?
Yeah, just for a moment.
Yeah, just for a moment something seems to pop up on the screen, and the logo here. Okay, now it's fine. It gets small. Yeah.
I know actually what is happening. The thing is, when you reduce the resolution to 801 to 800 pixels, basically the drop down which we have for each of the items on the nav bar, one of them expands, which might be based on what you have clicked on the last one, or one of them by default. That expands and shrinks quickly within a fraction of a second when the resolution changes from 801 to 800, which basically turns the navbar, hides the top icons in the items in the navbar and changes into a hamburger icon.
Neutral, don't flex. Cool.
That is an issue, but in general usage we won't see, because people will not have a system which will have 800 or so resolution.
Yep. Makes sense.
All right, one last thing, and then we'll move on. It's difficult to see, but the vertical line is just off to the left. Like it's pretty hard to see. You almost have to take my word for it that it is. I mean, and this is this isn't super critical or anything, but it's just off to the left, and there's a little bit of the line coming out underneath here. It becomes more apparent if you zoom, maybe zoom again. It becomes apparent that like, oh, okay, it does extend past the circle. And then, yeah, it's not centered with the circle because it just, so something for Chinmay to have a look at.
I guess this issue was being commented out in a PR or an issue. I guess I have seen it somewhere.
Yeah, that's an open PR for it, 2039. And the issue for that one is 2040. But actually it's a bit different one, almost related to it.
Okay, so maybe if Nitish or Aditya, someone of you can like inform Chinmay about this change, if they can incorporate in the PR itself. Like, yeah. Okay, then we'll move on to the next topic. That's again by Nikhil, and it looks like an epic issue. So over to you, Nikhil.
That's not actually a topic, just a regular update for a first comer issue open on the site to migrate the code chapters from the GitHub repo to the Layer5 repo. So we have the Figma project link as well as the design spec added in the meeting minutes, and the issue link, which addresses all the things that needs to be done for that particular issue. So if anyone interested to try it their hand, that's a small item which deals with Markdown and a bit of Gatsby, and it will be ready to come.
Okay, so that's an open call out for anyone who wants to contribute to Markdown or want to try their hands on. Basically, so like as we have seen the Learn NG section for Layer5 website, so we saw different courses and all. So we are in need to add one more course. From the information is available on the GitHub repo as well. So you'll have to like look into the Figma project, the design spec, like appropriate info would be there, and you can like try it out to migrate the course. If you need any help on those things, then you can contact Nikhil or anyone else of us. And so if anyone wants to give it a try, please contact Nikhil or comment on the issue itself. I guess the issue is created. Yeah, you can comment on the issue itself for the migration of the course.
Nice. So yeah, there might be a few folks on the call who haven't had an opportunity to contribute to layer5.io to this Gatsby site. This is actually this particular call out that Josh is making is a nice way of easing into that, because you'll run into challenges even with just working with this markdown challenges, and I won't go over what the challenges will be, but which means it's a good way to get in and start understanding the system.
Okay, then we'll move on to the next topic. That's where Anita about the community handbook. So Anita, would you be giving an update on this?
Okay, thank you. Hello everyone. Let me try sharing my screen. Yes, so I've been trying to put up because when we mentioned on the Friday meeting, some persons volunteered that they would help us with the community handbook. Sorry about that. Some persons volunteered that they would help us with the community handbook, and I created
Boys.
I keep getting a call. I'm sorry about that. Yes, so I created a group for those that volunteer to help up with community handbook. And then I went ahead to check other samples from other communities that have gone through the handbook. And I saw the one that used Git book. You can check the option here. Yes, so this is like when we started the handbook, this is the picture I actually had in my head. The arrangement on the web page will look something like this. I like the way it's organized. Everything looks neat. You don't have to um, think of where to start. Everything is aligned and properly arranged. So this looks really good and presentable for the community handbook. But if this doesn't work as an option, then the second one I thought of was this one from the wiki. Although I don't like the organization of this one, but if we're not using any of the samples, are we going to put it on the website, like create a new layout, or from the using Gatsby, and now are we going to create a new layout for the handbook from scratch, or we're going to use Gitbook or any other documentation tool that will make the whole process easier and faster. So that's what I thought of. And in the community handbook, I also noticed that there are some things missing. Like Lee mentioned the last time, there's a mailing list that we're supposed to include, and also the CNCF event. We've not included this. This was supposed to be, or the link seems to be broken. Yeah, this was supposed to be an issue, but there, from my calculations, it would be better if this exists on the community handbook, because it's a list of events that people could scroll through if they're going through the community handbook. So I feel like that's the best place to also list the CNCF events. And also there are some other changes that would make subsequently, but it's still very, very rough sketch. We'd have a meeting today or tomorrow, depending on the availability of everyone that um, opts to volunteer for this particular task. Yes, so those are the options I have. Either to use the Git book, which from the chaos community, or create a layout using the on the Layer5 site from the scratch and design it. Or
Yeah.
yes, so I had to
Yeah.
bring that to the community.
This is exciting. This is so actually, before I say a bunch of stuff, let me step back and say, Ruth, do you want to say anything about this? And Ruth might not be in a place to talk, but Anita teed it up.
I stepped off for a second. Sorry, I went to get something. So yeah, I stepped out for a minute. Anita was still talking about the different options, so I missed if you said something.
Nope. I wanted, before I expressed opinion, I wanted to give you a chance to I don't know, add commentary. It's been a long time in the making.
Yeah, so some context, like Anita said, the community handbook, started some months ago with some She Code Africa participants that did the open source bootcamp. So now we want to move forward with that and make it more presentable, right? Because it was a short period, it was for 1 month, so it wasn't presentable at that point. So it was for 1 month, the program was for 1 month. So we are looking at, I actually think the Git book would be a good option, right? The two options are great, by the way, but Git book could be like a good option, because as Anita presented from the example, I really like the way that one was, arranged. But then the other option about, building a page for it it depends on how the page is going to be. Is the page going to like still list out, different sections where you move to the next page again? Because then we can't have one page having the whole information. So we can have a Git book and maybe a URL that will link to the Git book. So I actually vote for, if we can vote, I'll vote for the Git book option.
Nice, yeah. So in general, as we have created the Discuss forum and the learning paths and the interactive labs, and well, I guess in the blog posts, the blogs were already there, but for all of the areas, all of the sections, we go to length to include them on the same site when we can. The Discuss forum is technically a separate thing, and that's why it has its own subdomain, because it's technically a separate server that's running a full discourse server. And so, but we've done what we can to try to style it to make it look like you're really not going anywhere. And so for something as simple as a collection of pages, that's really like, it's very little work to just include it in the same framework, to not bring in a separate framework. So the Gitbook format, it looks great. And just in creating a new collection and having a navigator over those pages, it can be done as simple as that. And actually that's really simple. Like that component that we were just looking at, with the vertical, what that had the chapters that you were sort of vertically selecting between, that actually, I don't mean to make it sound not or like overly easy, but actually just having that one component, that's probably about enough. Because when you think about the handbook itself, like if you take an estimate as to how many pages it might turn out to be online, is it somewhere less than 20 pages, or is it somewhere less than 50? It's probably somewhere less than 20. And like having that same navigator is pretty easy. Like there's you just end up needing another collection, like a collection like blog posts, or like the books, or like the learning. There's a bunch of collections that Gatsby has, and that you can then query, pull up, and then have in a list, and you still have it as part of the same site. So I guess what I'm saying is like, hey, the point from the start has been like, it's the same site. We want to give people the same feeling and sense of what we're doing, in the same commonly referenced URL, only to the point that it's a different system. Would we then have a subdomain? If we were running Gitbook as a separate repo and a separate thing, then yeah, we probably would have handbook or like community.layer5.io. But again, like this is actually a really simple set of pages that have images and other things, and very easy to, I mean, if the group can create learning paths, which is a lot more complex and has a different information architecture with interactive labs and quizzes and ultimately a certification produced, and they're able to create that in the existing framework, then yeah, a collection of pages, no sweat. That doesn't mean that we shouldn't take time to style it, make it look pretty and look, very similar to Gitbook. That some of the components, if you've not looked around the layer5.io/learning, there are components within there that would be probably, potentially just things to reuse. And actually, if they get reused, that will help make it feel like a cohesive site. So not only will it make it easier to deliver, but it will make the site look cohesive. Does any of that unalign? So the development work, there's kind of two aspects of the development work for the handbook. So one is pretty much the same whether you're using Gitbook or not, which is there's markdown files that have the content that lay out the structure, have the content linked between them, and that kind of a thing. And there's a second set of development work that goes on with respect to navigating the content, like having, so if you can you browse to Layer5 NG? There's also work that can be done in Figma if you guys want to like lay out first, kind of draft or lay out what you think it either looks like, or just the structure layout of like, hey, there will be these 4 sections or these 5 sections in the handbook. This one's about meetings, and this one's about I don't know what the different sections are, but that's certainly something to do. Is like, what does the skeleton look like? What's the outline look like? Josh, if you go back, please, to Layer5 NG or Learn NG. So on the left-hand side, if you see that, that's one navigator that would work for navigating the community handbook. The other style navigator, I think you have to go into a course. Yeah, this was really short, but it's the bulleted one that we were just looking at. So good. So what do you guys think? Like, what I'm trying to say is, do we still have Anita?
Yeah, for this, I've really not navigated the Learn NG site. This really looks good. So we should use this pattern also, right? Because then you have that by the side, you have those headings, meshes, hands-on, and then the list of, what is in that section. So this also looks great. We can also use this. I haven't really looked at the NG site. So yeah, this looks great.
Nice. Yeah, good. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, so I think what we can start off first is, start with updating, the content we have right now, because some of those things, have gone out, processes have changed. So I think what we can start with is updating the information there, then also creating that skeleton you talked about, right? So we'll know, okay, when content is ready, then we can start, development, right? So we're doing 2 things by the side, that drawing up the skeleton, then also updating the information that is currently, the content we have currently, updating that information, because like some processes have changed.
Sweet. Yeah, good.
And Anita has also like created that Slack chat for the persons that want to, go on with this. So just in case you want to take this on too, you can ping Anita or me, so would add you to that Slack chat.
Nice. And is that in a particular channel, Ruth?
Not a channel, like a Slack chat. I think when you want to add somebody, it opens up another one.
Oh, sure. Got you. Okay. Oh, yeah. That makes sense. So of the folks that are on the call, there were a couple I thought, so Goodness is hopefully here, interested in that effort. I think that's right. And then there are a couple of other folks that are on the phone that might be helpful to have involved from the perspective of being familiar with Gatsby or being familiar with some of the components that are being used on the Learn NG area, so that as you guys go to do the designs, there's someone there to help. I don't know. I was thinking like Dewa Priya, Aditya, I don't know if, or Nikhil Sharma, potentially. Like, I don't know if this is an area of interest for any of you, or Hardarshan, I mean, Harry Darshan, dang it, that's it.
Yeah, I can help if that is required.
Yeah, and yeah, so Goodness, I don't think she hasn't had an opportunity to work on this site. But Goodness, have you, it might be really comfortable for you, and maybe you guys don't need help, I'm not sure. I suspect like, yeah, Devapriya being involved to assist with.
Yeah, please, Deborah, it's what's your name on this on Slack? Is it still
It's Devopia itself, Devopia Bhattacharya.
okay? Let me find that. Deborah.
Cool.
So how about we set a goal, like the next community meeting we have this Friday. So till then we can, if we can have decided the architecture, updated the information, then we can move on to the development faster. How does it sound?
I'm sorry. Can you say that again, Josh?
Yeah, so I'm saying like till the next we have this community meeting this Friday, so we can discuss the update. So if we can have a short goal, like if we can complete the updation part that Anita was mentioning about the information, and we can have a brief overview or like architecture, like just the name of the sections we'll be using on the
Okay.
left hand side by Friday.
Okay. Okay, sure. That works Friday.
Okay, then we are adding this to the Friday's community meeting agenda.
Okay, yeah, for the architecture on Friday. Okay.
Yeah, anything else on this topic from anyone? Like any feedback?
Besides, you can come join us.
Okay. So there are a number of folks in like interested to help you in this. Haridarshan has also shown interest.
Yeah, you can show interest here or on Slack website meeting.
Definitely. So we'll okay with 1 minute to spare. We can move on to the next topic. So this just I think this not a topic of itself. It's just like you'll provide me with the credentials and we'll look into this thing. Or is there anything to discuss about it?
Yeah, not really. Just I think just to mention it briefly for everyone else, and actually since Rude Raksh is on the phone as well, this is good. That's to say that it's been twice that the Discuss forum, discuss.layer5.io, which by the way, Anita has been a great champion of people using. It has been unavailable briefly twice, and that is unnerving. And it's been the same reason both times. So there are two discourse forums that we're running. One is discuss.layer5.io. The other one is staging. It's staging-discuss.layer5.io, and they are both AWS EC2 VMs. They both have a secondary, they both have one volume that's directly associated to that virtual machine. They both also have a secondary volume attached. That secondary volume is not being auto-mounted and is not like, it's not logically, the two volumes are not logically spanned, which is okay, that second part. But so on reboot, they're not logically, the second one isn't mounted. So the servers have been running out of space, and that's in part because they're not using that second volume. Also, when they reboot, their Docker instance is not set to start on boot, Docker service rather. And so, yeah, there's a PEM, there's a certificate to hand to you guys to let you go, have you go take a look on staging.discuss.layer5.io, implement a solution, and then to do the same on the production site. So for anyone who's done Linux systems administration, it's a walk in the park. For anyone who hasn't, it can be scary. So this is a good learning opportunity for some. But Josh, I'll get you those credentials, and Rudraksh, is probably time to get you those as well. So
is that the reason we're down right now?
Are we? I didn't know that we're okay. So this is the third time that we're down.
I think staging is working fine, but Discuss is not.
It's a different type of error. Like all the 3 times we had different types of errors.
Yeah.
Right.
Last time it was just slow for me, but now it's not loading up at all.
My head might explode. What's going on? What's going on? Okay. So outside of just the PEM, there's also, let's get you guys access to the AWS console as well. So because with having just the SSH certificate, it's not, like in this case, you can't get into the system because the system's going to be down. So, all right. So I'll hang out with you guys just after the call. I thought we had one other topic or two. So Shayatan, God, darn it. I was learning from, who was I listening to? Aditya. Aditya was enunciating it with an SH last night. So he's been, so
Shayantan.
Shayantan. That's right. Yeah.
You forget the N. Everything else is fine. Just the N. Shayantan.
Shayantan.
Yeah.
So he's been working on an email template for release announcements. So when we release Meshery, geez, we should probably tell people about that, especially the people that are using it. And for the smaller release announcements, it's easy enough to eventually automate those. Eventually, right now, and just Shayatan, do you want to share your screen or?
Yeah, I can share my screen.
Okay. So we have a few software projects and we release new versions of the software. Shayatan, actually, I'll let you introduce this.
Okay, so this one is the email template that we are having right now. Here we will be having our release notes, like what are the changes we have done and what are the maintenance and documentation, who are the contributors worked on this release. And we have also some features highlight over here, like what are the features that got in and some contributing guides by the components. So this is basically the body section of the mail. And then at last we have the upgrade command. Like in this way, we can upgrade our Meshery to the latest version of it. And then we have the footer right down here. So if you want to see the inbox, like this is how it shows right now. If we send this mail to a user. But I think Lee wanted some changes in the footer. So
yeah,
can you just tell that?
So yeah, just because we're a little bit over time, I'll try to speak quickly. And that's to say that the email service that we're using at the moment is Mailchimp, and they charge an eye-gouging amount for it's stupid, and we don't need to be. We can take this mail template and just send it through Google Groups. Anyway, for right now, we're using Mailchimp, and as part of their service, they do require that there be a footer, or that there be the ability for someone to unsubscribe in the footer, and which is what we have. We have this manage your email preferences, and we are paying for the account and paying for the nearly 3,000 people who are subscribed here. But this footer doesn't meet their criteria. I'm not exactly sure what their criteria is. So if Shayatan sends a test of this email, it will tag on another footer. So Shayatan, that's one thing for us to figure out. What do we need to change and include to make sure that, because it will have a double footer, and theirs is a little more, their phrasing is a little more insinuative of us having spammed someone, which doesn't feel good. And so if you would, there's a few people on the call who I'm sure are interested to maybe receive a test email, like a test preview. So if you click out of this, the X in the upper right-hand corner. So by the way, this email template is quite rote. I mean, if you hit the X in the upper right-hand corner, the email template itself is it's just a copy and paste from the release notes that are auto-generated, would be copy and paste into the middle of the template. Yeah, Shayatan, if you can exit this mode. Cool. If you go see in the upper right-hand corner, it says preview and test. And yeah, send a test email. Then if there's a few folks who might, there's a few folks who might give you their email address. You can send a few tests around, have them comment, have them check it in their mail clients. So in their web browser on Gmail, in their thick mail client on their app, on their mobile phone, kind of a thing. The reason that we're starting, the only value, well, one of the few pieces of value that Mailchimp is giving us in this case is hopefully this mail template is responsive. Like hopefully they're taking care of the mobile views and the different mail clients. And so there's a list.
Yeah, Lee, actually, I found another problem in this template. I think it was in Outlook 19. So,
Cool. We're just, okay, good. Let's move on. We're slightly out of time. And yes, you're right. Like we need to check these various clients.
yeah,
And,
I think that this one is getting more slow.
That's interesting because it's an emoticon. I mean, like, yeah, it's an ASCII character. Like it's supposed to.
You can see it's not visible over here. Like it's gone.
Yeah.
So I will fix this. I can.
Cool. Yeah, it was just supposed to be like a stars or something.
Yeah. Okay.
What would actually be better is if it was a very small meshery logo. It's just a small circle.
I can put a meshery logo also over here.
Cool. Yeah, that would be great.
Okay.
Good. Okay, and then I thought we had one other topic. We're like 10 minutes over.
Yeah, we have one more topic by Debopriya, which is the Meshery operator web page.
Yeah, so I presented it in the last day's community call, but I made a couple of changes. Basically, what I wanted to ask is, I think this lacks pictures, and I could not find a lot of pictures except for these two. So this is the other part which I added. I have to work on the discuss call out because that was supposed to be for the other pages as well. This is a very simple format right now. This I'll try to make it a little more attractive, but the web page looks like this right now. So I thought it's too much text. So, but I don't have a lot of pictures to add right now. So that is what I had to show.
Yeah, this.
So sorry to interrupt, Lee. So I just wanted to confirm whether the URL would be like, I think we should update it.
Yeah, slightly. Yeah. Yes. I'll you do. Yep. So on this, Deborah Priya, boy, I'm trying to be concise because we don't have a lot of time, and that's hard for me, being concise. To Josh's point, like if it was to land behind projects, it would be meshery hyphen lowercase o. And so Deborah Priya will send you the URL because it will actually not be behind projects, but it'll be elsewhere. And so.
Okay, I am sorry. I think my network stopped working, so I could not hear anything you said.
Fair enough. Well, I'll send it in Slack. This is you. I think well of how you have fabricated this page from nothing. You'd be surprised at how many boys come on this call, and they're quite skilled at like making components and stuff, but they like cannot get past. They have like zero imagination to just put some words and pictures on the screen, and it's dumbfounding. Actually, I'm really surprised that people sometimes it's like just put some paragraphs on the page, and they're like they can't get past that. So anyway, kudos to you. This is looking good.
Thank you so much.
Okay,
It's
so
okay.
I think we'll wrap up with this. We'll have the I'll I'll add the comments on Slack itself, and with taking that Lee's comments on our designing skills, we'll wrap up today. Uh, so it was a nice call. We had many topics to discuss, and we covered almost all of them. And it was good because Lee had to speak less today, and that's why. Okay, so we'll move on to the next meeting. We'll continue with what we have left into the next meeting on the next Monday's websites call. And if you are involved somewhere else, we'll see you in the other calls as well. And for the updates, I've added them in the meeting minutes itself. So please have a look at them. And thank you all for joining. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Wow. See you guys. Bye.
But